My number 10, out of the University of Washington, Jalen McMillan. So, Jalen McMillan is 6'1", 192 pounds. He is 22 years old. Again, there's a lot of reasons why I feel like Jalen McMillan is kind of being overlooked in this draft, right? So let's start off. 2022 season, Jalen McMillan had 79 receptions for 1,098 yards and 9 touchdowns. He averaged 13.9. And then in 2023, you'll notice a big difference here. 45 receptions, 559 yards, 5 touchdowns, 12.4 average. So that's significant difference. Let's talk about the good things. Jalen McMillan has good speed, explosiveness, tracking ability, and I think he has solid body control. So starting off with the good things here, how Washington used him, and again, in the NFL, he's going to be a slot receiver, right? He was used in the slot at Washington, right? And this is a receiving core with Rome Odunze, with Jalen Polk, and then McMillan kind of being that third guy, and they used him in the slot. But the skill set that he has, I like a lot. And especially, when you're talking about guys that the Browns could get later on, I think Jalen McMillan could be a guy that the Browns, if you pass up wide receiver with your first 2 picks being your second and third round picks, and maybe with one of these 5th round picks, you want to add a receiver. I think McMillan is a good option at that point in the draft. Again, this is a guy at Washington. They used him in the slot, like I mentioned, but they used him over the middle, and they kind of used his speed to mismatch against defenses, right? Where he's not the vocal point, but he is certainly a threat that you have to respect. They used him over the middle. His route running is solid. It's not like the best, but it's really good. I like it a lot. I think it is good enough to translate to the next level. His speed, explosiveness, good enough to translate to the next level. I think his hands are solid. They're not like the best hands in the world by any means, but his tracking ability to find the ball, his body control to come down with it, all things that I like a lot from Jalen McMillan. Again, they're not perfect, but I think it's enough to say that it could translate to the NFL at a decent level, right? I think Jalen McMillan could be a good NFL receiver. So let's talk about the negatives, right? Why did he have such a great 2022 season and then follow it up with kind of a lackluster year this past season on a team, obviously, that was stacked, a team that went to the national title game, got screwed out? Well, we're not going to get into it. But yeah, right? Why was there a significant drop-off? And that's the cons. He has dealt with injuries. His frame is not great. And that's kind of his biggest enemy, is when he's healthy, plays at a really high level. And a lot of times coming back off that injury, played with a knee brace that slowed him down a little bit, kind of limited him. But when he's fully good to go, he's good, right? He has the speed. He has everything that he needs. But the frame is a problem. 6'1", 192. Those numbers don't sound horrible, especially considering some of these other guys that I have on my list. It's not a huge difference as far as the weight and the height, right? But how he holds his weight is not great. He's kind of one of these skinnier guys, and at the next level, he's going to have to get in the weight room. He's going to have to be really paid attention to when it comes to the nutrition people, strength and conditioning people, right? If he can get that in check and put on some size, I think he can be really good. I just think some of his concerns are, it's not something I would take a risk on with one of my first 2 picks, right? And I think he's going to be a guy that's probably going to slip. I could see him going anywhere between like the 4th round and after. And I think especially, again, if the Browns pass on receiver with rounds 2 or 3 and they keep these 2 5th-round picks, I wouldn't be upset if he was one of them. I think he has a lot of potential. think he was massively overlooked. And I think, if you could put a little size on him, he can do a lot for you. So Jalen McMillan is my number 10. My number 9 is someone that I am absolutely starting to fall in love with, right? This is a great player. This is a guy that is not a popular name. He's not a household name. A lot of people don't really know a whole lot about him, but I'm telling you, gut feeling, this guy's going to be a really good receiver at the next level. And doing a lot of film study on him, diving into him, learning more about him, I'm kind of blown away that he has flown under the radar as much as he is. And, you might ask the question, hey, why is he number 9 on your list? And that is because this receiver draft is insane. Like, this is a historically great receiver draft class. And we've said that the last few years, and yes, they've been really good the last few years, but this year's different. I'm telling you, I've watched every single one of these guys, and everybody on my top 10 here, I would not be surprised if they are at least good, solid receivers at the NFL level, for sure.